Well, good morning and Merrie Meet. And I thought today, being the 1st of December and as we enter the Yule season, that it might be a really appropriate time for me to introduce myself and also to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. First of all, thank you for joining Cauldron FM and our website, and hopefully you'll also be looking at Cauldron TV. And I'm the Merlin. Cauldron FM was started by myself about 12 months ago, and it started off as a podcast service using a site called Podbean. So if you want to catch the early broadcasts, you can log in to that site, and I'll give you the details of that shortly. Then I moved the business forwards somewhat into setting up the YouTube account, which you're watching on now, because basically the podcast service was generating a lot of hits, yes, but there were still people that we weren't getting to, so I decided that I wanted to do it a little bit more visual. This getting it more visual became a bit of a bug with me, and I realised that I wanted to sort of develop that still further and to prepare a pagan-based TV channel. Now that's obviously some way off yet, but we are moving in that direction. And during my research into that, I found that it was possible to broadcast the radio station semi-live via a site called Vital. So basically what we did was we investigated that and we shipped things into there. So we now generally broadcast at least 12 hours a day, and it's running at the moment. It's been online since 7 o'clock last night, and it runs through the shows, and all the new shows get put up there, etc. This is actually only, as I say, only a stepping stone into the next phase. When the next phase is where we actually are able to broadcast properly 24 hours a day, and that we will be doing live broadcasts, and then that steps us into TV and pagan-based live TV. But we are making moves towards that anyway, because, as I say, we've got the YouTube account. We are able to broadcast live TV now, subject to various criteria, and yet that needs to be fully investigated. We've also now opened up another podcast site, so things are really sort of moving forward. So who are we? Well, there's me, Dave Baxter. I'm the Merlin, and over in the UK we have another lady, or a lady working with us, alongside us, a girl called Jan, and Jan runs an organisation called New Age Designs, and she is also quite computer au fait. She's a journalist, etc. And one of her passions, and she's also clairvoyant, one of her passions is that she would like to be doing telephone psychic and all that sort of thing, and Cauldron FM provides the vehicle for her to do that. She also owns a server, so basically we're moving things away from traditional methods into Jan's server, which is then going to be like the home for all the Cauldron and Moonshadow media items. Over in America we also have a presence. One of our presenters, a lady that's been with me for quite some time now as a broadcaster, is a lady called Raven Moonshadow, and she runs a children's show called Raven's Circle, and she's just putting together something for adults which is going to be called The Nest, and The Nest is going to be one of our pilot programs that goes on to both audio and video. We also now welcome 2 new people into the Moonshadow family, one of whom is Reverend Cora, based in America, and she runs a show called Cauldron's Cora. Cora's Cauldron, I'm sorry. And that's really, really interesting. Her first broadcast was only done the other day, and that's a sumptuous Yule dinner, and it makes my mouth water every time I hear it. On this side of the water, in the UK, we have a gentleman who is a clinical hypnotherapist called Pete Blaney, and Pete does guided meditations, and one of the things that he's putting together, and we've already done the first broadcast for that, is something called Fairy Journeyings, and the first one was The Journey Begins, so you can catch that on the new podcast site later today. And then we are also a commercial organisation, so primarily we broadcast for the pagan community, but we do use this as we want to use this as a vehicle to become self-funding and pay us for doing it full time, which I think is a reasonable thing to do. So we carry advertising, and our advertising is for pagan-based businesses, but that's not exclusive. We will take other ones. In fact, I've done one fairly recently for a company that cleans carpets because they wanted an advert and felt that we hit quite a lot of people, so they paid us to make it. So if you want advertising doing, please get in touch with us, because our services are available to anybody that wishes to purchase them. We are quite experienced in the work that we do. I mean, I work full-time in the entertainment industry. I've been involved in radio for more years than I care to remember, having worked for some fairly major radio stations, and also worked with a lot of high-profile people. And another friend of mine who's an advisor and comes into this on an advisory capacity is a professional entertainer and also a radio presenter. So, you know, we know a little bit about what we're talking about, I think. So anyway, website details. Excuse me. If you want to catch the semi-live broadcasts on Veetle.com, that's VEETLE.com, when we're broadcasting, you can sign into Veetle.com, and then you can look, there's a heading there that says channels. If you look on the channels heading, if you go more or less to the end, because we're a late starter with these people, you'll find, if we're online, you'll find our logo, the blue cauldron, sitting there quite nicely, and it'll tell you how long we've been online at that particular time, and you can just click that and you'll be taken to a page which has got all the playlists on it and everything. If you want to catch the early shows via the podcast service, you can go to http://cauldronfm.podbean.com. And if you want to catch the new podcast service, that is http://cauldronfm.podomatic, podomatic.com. So that's that. We are also on Twitter, and if you go to Cauldron FM at Twitter, then you'll see our semi-regular tweets. And email is cauldronfm@gmail.com, or if it's for advertising purposes, please bear this one in mind, it's broadcaststudio@gmail.com. If it gets to cauldronfm.com, gmail.com should I say, it might not get read as quickly as you'd like it to, but if it's for advertising, broadcaststudio@gmail.com will get there very quickly. So basically that's what Cauldron FM is about. As I say, we've been going for about 12 months. Veetle has been going since September the 21st, and since September the 21st to date, we have had 9,754 hits on the site. So people are listening to us, and that's great. Oh, and by the way, also, yeah, we do also have a Facebook presence, Cauldron FM, for obvious reasons. And we have Cauldron FM and Cauldron FM, The Sound of Magic. So have a look for us on there. And well, basically enjoy it. If you have any suggestions, we're always open to suggestions. If there's things you want to see, things you want to hear us to talk about, then you'll also find that you can. We're very, very approachable. We welcome input from other people. So anyway, this is only the first of the broadcasts, and I'm sure that over the time you'll get to see my face quite a bit more. And hopefully I can persuade Bridget, Raven Moonshadow, and Cora and Pete to actually do a piece to camera, so you get to know who they are, and you can see who they are and know who you're talking about and who's talking to you. So that's it. That's me. I'm the Merlin. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it stirs you to move on and look for elsewhere at what we're doing. And until the next time we talk, I'll say cheerio for now. Have a great Yule if I don't speak to you before. Blessed be.